Hello everybody, this is Llodg, and before I get into this review, I wanted to say that I was provided a code for Depersonalization by Keymailer for Steam. However, all my thoughts in this video are completely my own. Depersonalization is a narrative-driven RPG that uses Lovecraftian elements within its story. The game also has elements of tabletop games, with its use of stat-based character creation and dice rolls. I really like how in-depth some of these systems can seem to be, but I'll be honest, a tutorial of what everything does could have been really nice. But there are a lot of modules for you to go through to hopefully figure out how to properly play the game. With all these modules, there's a lot of story for you to play through, and in these modules there's a lot of dialogue, especially if you're someone who likes to listen to every NPC. I've seen online that there can be issues with the English translation, with how the text doesn't fit into the boxes, but in this current version it seems to be mostly fixed, but there are still a couple of small issues. Like how I can tell that this sentence is about to use italics, because you can see the I within the angular brackets right before the next word becomes italicized. But that's not a big issue, and overall I thought the English translation was pretty good. There were a couple moments where I think a line of dialogue got passed by the QA team, where the dialogue is still just Chinese characters. And for each module there are multiple endings, and it's pretty easy to go back to see what those endings were. So if you are someone who likes to see how a story could play out, there are multiple pathways to see where the story could have gone. And in general, there's just a lot of content here if you want to know how certain choices would end up. And I didn't really mess with it much, but there is a whole module creator if you want to create your own stories. I played this game using a controller, which I know is kind of weird for this kind of RPG, but I do like sitting back with just a controller in my hand, and while this game does support controllers, it doesn't feel like it fully accommodates using a controller. Like, it can be hard to see which option I'm hovering over, and I just had to go ahead and use the mouse for some of these menus. It's not game breaking by any means, but I would have preferred being able to use a controller and not have to worry about accidentally clicking the wrong option, because I couldn't tell what I was hovering over. I really like the art style of this game with all the pixel art, but I have to say that some of the UI elements look a little weird. I was able to tell what was going on most of the time, but some things in the UI just weren't immediately obvious. Some elements took me a while to know what they actually meant, but I do like how the characters and world looks, so I guess there are ups and downs to the overall art style. While playing, I enjoyed hearing some of the music, especially in some of the battles, but while I enjoyed the music in the moment, I'm not sure how memorable the music will be. Like, I don't think I'll really think about the game's music while doing something in real life or anything. Now I do want to say that this game does include AI for voiceovers, but you can easily turn it off like I did. Honestly, I feel like AI doesn't really add anything here that an actual cast of humans could accomplish, and I didn't feel like I was losing anything with just the beats that came along with the text. I understand why they include this within the game, but I honestly just wish AI wasn't a part of this game at all, even if it can be turned off. Overall, I thought the game did run well on my laptop, however when I was initially loading up the game to play, it took forever to load. It also stopped the loading animation for some reason and took so long that the application stopped responding. If I just let it be, it would eventually load and be perfectly fine, but I just wanted to bring this up because I was worried my laptop wouldn't be able to run this game, even though it definitely shouldn't have had any issues to begin with. But other than that initial hiccup, the game ran perfectly fine for me. If you like visual novels with more gameplay other than reading, then I really recommend Depersonalization. I know I didn't talk too much about the story, but that's because that's kind of the main thing you're going to be doing within this game, and I think you should experience it for yourself. The story of the different modules can be pretty interesting, and the gameplay has a lot of systems that go into it that can make it into a deeper experience than some other the more mainstream RPGs. Thank you again to Keymailer for providing me with a code for Depersonalization, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day, and goodbye.